Welcome to the Between Tides podcast, sponsored by Portage Learning. If you're looking to build a brighter future, consider taking an online college course with us. Learn more at portagelearning.edu. And now, on to our featured episode.
So welcome back to the Between Tides podcast. I think today we're going to mix it up. We're going to change it up. And today, Alice and I are actually going to be in the hot seat. We're used to interviewing people, but we've been asked to kind of speak to our specialties as it pertains to high school students and the courses that they're going to take. So today we're going to change it up and have a good conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited. I get a lot of questions from students and parents in my role as Director of Student Engagement at Portage Learning. And we thought these are questions that come up enough that it would be wise for us to sit down for a little bit and just go through them.
Absolutely. And so for the listener, if you don't know, so I'm also one of the academic deans at Portage Learning. So I'm the Dean of Academic Initiatives and Outreach. I was a longtime curriculum director as well. And so how we develop our courses, how we want it to be able to help students, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's jump in.
All right, let's do it.
I think the first thing is a lot of parents and students want to know there are so many different options that my high school student has when it comes to some sort of advanced or higher level courses to be taken in high school. So what are some of those options and what do they mean?
Yep. So can I just go ahead and jump into your experience? What did your kids take? What was theirs like?
Actually, my 4 kids each took a college course while they were in high school. And some of them were dual credit courses that they could apply towards their high school diploma, and some of them weren't. So that was their experience. None of my kids actually did AP courses or a gap year.
Okay. Did you ever take an AP course?
I sure didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't even really, I guess I knew that they existed, but they weren't on my radar.
Okay. I remember I took a few AP courses, and it's been interesting just over the years, and then now being where we are in our positions, is how much has changed and evolved, and that's what we're going to be diving into as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What's an AP course? I mean, I didn't take one, so I have no experience with them. Obviously, I know something about them, but how about you kind of define and explain a little bit?
Sure. So in a general sense, AP courses are advanced placement.
Okay.
So these are courses that are taught by certified teachers inside the high school. So these are high school teachers that have their certifications and they want to teach a course. Typically, it's going to be a much more rigorous, academically rigorous course. It's going to be on a topic that the goal is that when they finish it, they have to take a final exam, and based on the score of that final exam, they can potentially get credits towards their college degree.
Okay, nice.
So to graduate college, to get a baccalaureate, a BS degree, or a BA degree, you have to have 120 credits. And so this is an opportunity that you could take a course in high school and get some of those credits towards that 120.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it a good option? I mean, is it something that we see high schools pushing their students to or steering them away from?
Sure. What's interesting is over the years, I think there's actually been a change. There's been a drift coming.
Yeah.
So I know like when I was in high school, way back when, we won't do the math on that.
Okay, easy, because I predate you a little bit.
Yep. AP courses was a big thing. It was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
And then things that the landscape right now is shifting actually away from AP courses. And what we'll talk about probably here a little bit later is what is commonly referred to as dual enrollment.
Okay. Interesting. So how do colleges view AP courses then? If the shift is as sort of, we've seen a shift happening over the years, what's different now compared to what it was like when you were taking them, for instance?
I think there's a lot of pros and cons, as there is with everything. And so an AP course typically has that reputation of being, like I said, an academic rigorous course. It's going to be over and above what they're used to having in the high school. In some colleges, they can love that, especially if you have a really gifted and dedicated teacher.
Yeah.
But again, that can vary from school to school and from classroom to classroom. If you're fortunate, you can have a great experience and kind of get your feet wet on what a college level course is actually going to feel like, and what the expectations are. I'll say one of my courses that I took in high school was AP, and I did not have a great experience. It was not a great teacher, and we were not prepared.
Yeah.
So that could be one of the downsides of it.
Sure.
Quick kind of story for that is I remember I took AP World History. So world history covered from, I don't even remember how far back it started. We barely got to World War I.
Oh.
And when you go into the final exam, which is what you have to pass in order to get credit, the entire exam was on the Vietnam War.
Oh,
And so our entire class bombed because we didn't know a thing about it. And unfortunately,
wow.
that was my experience. And I kind of felt like that was kind of a waste. That was a year-long course.
Yeah, that's a lot of investment.
That was.
Yeah.
So that can be one of the drawbacks of an AP course. So one, if you don't have a good teacher, you may not be prepared for whatever the AP board decides is going to be on that exam that year.
Okay.
On the second hand, is typically you have to score, when you take an AP exam, it's scored from a 1 to a 5.
Okay.
Typically, you have to have a 3 or higher to obtain college credit. The downside of that is there's no national mandate that says a college has to accept credit if you score a 3 or
right.
higher. And so we're talking about the evolving landscape of where things are right now, especially with different financial crises on schools.
Yeah.
Schools don't have to accept that. And so they can actually force a student to retake the course with them. So they have to pay their tuition, keep their teachers, their professors on staff, and keep their classrooms full.
Oh, man.
So that can be a lot of kind of, are you investing the time and do you actually get the payout for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe as a parent, I might be thinking, I don't know if I want to steer my child towards AP, but what are my other options? So, you're a parent, you've got boys that are going to be coming up, in the next few years in high school. If you were kind of steering them or advising them, what would be another option that you might consider?
Sure. Again, I think it always depends on the teacher. If you know the teacher and the program really, really well, again, AP courses could be a wonderful option.
Yeah.
But the other things out there, and there's a lot of different terminology, and we can kind of dive into that too, is the concept of dual enrollment.
Yeah.
And so that can look like a variety of ways. But that's basically the basic concept is you can take a college course that is on the books at a college, but they can offer it to you in high school.
Okay.
So you can either do that by actually going to the college campus. You take the course there, and there's obviously upsides and downsides to that.
Right.
Some high schools, their teachers can actually be certified to teach a college course.
Yeah.
That's often referred to as college and high school or CHS model.
Okay.
Or the third model is you can also take it online, which is what obviously we do at Portage Learning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have so many parents who talk to us at different events and college fairs, and that's really what they seem to be most interested in, because really when you think about dual enrollment, especially, your child is doing one course but getting the payoff for both their high school diploma requirements and a transcript that is accredited college courses or college courses accredited through an institution that they can then take with them anywhere they go to college. Absolutely. So that's a really enticing option, I feel.
Yep. I'm sure you've experienced this with parents too. And one of the things I always tell them to check is at their high school is how are these courses being presented, whether it's a CHS or it's a dual enrollment. What does that transcript look like?
Yeah.
So I know there are some high schools that you can do the college and high school, but it's going to be on their high school and a college transcript, but it's clearly going to say this was taken at the high school. It was a college in high school.
Yeah.
Even that can get frowned upon. It's like, well, you didn't really have a true college professor.
Yeah.
Versus if you do a dual enrollment, it may look just like a college transcript, and they have no idea that you were even in high school. When
sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
Just being mindful of those things.
Yeah. If a parent is thinking about their child taking a college course in high school, whether they're using it for dual enrollment or whether they're just going to use it as early college, maybe their child is going to take it in a summer between high school years, or they're going to take it the summer after they graduate. We call that early college, right? That's where you're not applying those credits toward their high school diploma. They're just going to be used to college for college-bound students.
Correct. In the general sense, yes. I know at Portage, that's how we refer to early college, is that the credits only are transferring to the college. But it might be good to take a step back and let's define some terms for the general listener. We work with schools all across the nation, and what's at the time kind of a bit frustrating is that every state can use different terms.
Of course.
And so there's no universal standards here. So we always advise parents, especially, talk to the schools, know exactly what you're getting into, know where it's going to transfer, how it's going to transfer, and how it's going to be evaluated.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think perhaps let's start with how we define it at Portage, and then we can kind of branch off.
Sure.
Okay. So let's start with dual enrollment. So we define that as a high school student who is enrolled in a college course, but taking it while in high school.
Okay.
Again, you're dually enrolled. You're
Mhm.
enrolled in your high school as you are, but you're also enrolled in college. The credits are also going to transfer. One course is going to count as both high school and college.
Yeah.
So that's dual enrollment.
I love that because I feel like I'm getting the bang for my buck.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Early college, on the other hand, is you're preparing for college early, but it has no bearing on your high school side of things.
Sure.
And so you may be a senior, you have some extra time, and so you take a college course to get some of those college credits knocked out,
Yeah.
and then that will apply once you graduate and then go to college.
Yeah. That's helpful.
Okay. We already talked about college and high school. Typically, that refers to a high school teacher that got certified to teach a college level course.
Okay.
Where it gets confusing is some schools may call it early college, and it's taught by their high school teacher. It's not CHS, it's EC. And,
Yeah.
and you also have dual credit, which means it can be taught by anyone, high school or college, but it's the credits are transferring both ways.
Yeah.
I know in the Midwest, they like longer terms, so it's PSEO, so post-secondary educational opportunities.
Yep.
That's always fun when we're talking to those schools, but PSEO, that's the way that they roll.
Yeah.
So again, post-secondary, so after your high school, your educational opportunities, that can be anything, typically are going to be gen eds.
Yeah.
So go ahead and define that. So gen eds, there's typically between 45 and 50 credits that every college student is required to take.
Okay.
And so these are typically going to be, there's going to be a biology, there's going to be chemistry,
Yep.
like a psych, a soc, a math, an English. These are all kind of your intro level courses.
Yeah. Your
that
basics.
You're required to take.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, and if you're listening, feel free to rewind and go back through that because
Right.
we shoot through this all the time.
Yeah. We do. We kind of say it in our sleep, but it is good to sit and parse it out and really clarify what the terms are.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I've learned that higher ed institutions love, it's their acronyms. So you'll find lots of acronyms
Yep, absolutely.
across the board. So if a student or parent is interested in pursuing any of these options, who pays for that? Is that coming out of the pocket of the student? Is that coming out of the pocket of the school, the state? What has been your experience as you've researched?
Unfortunately, there's no one good answer to that.
Yeah.
It can actually vary state to state,
Mhm.
and even more so district to district.
Yeah.
And so if you're in a district, again, parents, ask the question, ask your school, like, do you have funds earmarked? Because a lot of times schools do have funds and they don't even really communicate it that clearly to parents.
Yeah.
So you can have funds on the district level that can specifically pay for college courses.
Yeah.
Some of it, parents can just choose to pay right out of pocket. I know a lot of the parents that come to us, they're invested in their child and they just want to go ahead and move things forward, kind of cut through the red tape and just pay for it and roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Little piece of just life advice in general that I give people is always ask for more money.
Sure. Why
There
not?
often are funds available, and even a school counselor may not be aware of what funds are available until they do a little bit of searching or a little bit of digging. And sometimes if the funds aren't readily available right now, there are grants that can be written or applied for that the school may obtain funds for these types of courses for students to take. So it's always a good question to say, hey, I'm interested in this. What are my options, or what are my child's options? And you're right. It's the parents and the students who are really invested in their future and saying, this is what I think my path is going to be. I know I want to do this. So this is going to help me get there a little bit faster, a little bit ahead of time. And it's going to give me just the edge that I'm looking for.
Yep. You can speak to this as well. One of the, I think the most frustrating things is with the funding is there doesn't really seem to necessarily be a rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
And, we're very fortunate to partner with a lot of high schools, both locally and nationwide.
Yeah.
But you can go to one school and they're going to have a ton of money sitting there for dual enrollment early college. And you can go to the school that's just a few miles down the road and they don't have a single penny for anything.
Yeah.
So that's why we always, again, encourage the students and the parents to ask.
Yeah,
to see what's actually
absolutely.
going on.
And many public schools, again, it varies from school to school, but many of them will get earmarked monies from their state just for dual enrollment or early college courses. But because no one really knows that it's there, that money then doesn't get spent, and then it goes back to the
Yeah, you
state.
gotta
The school
send it
district
back.
doesn't get to keep it. So in a lot of cases, the districts want the students to come and take those courses. They want to spend the money. They're not trying to be stingy about it at all. They want their kids to succeed. They want their kids to go on to college. And if there are monies available, they want their students taking advantage of that. So always ask and be proactive about that.
At the same time, just to be gracious and acknowledge, like, there's so much going on that I know counselors and principals are overwhelmed, and sometimes they don't even have the time to communicate clearly for all those things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So parents, again, be that advocate for your child. That's the best way to start moving things forward.
Yeah, absolutely. What about for students who are like, I'm in. I want to take dual courses or dual credit courses, or I've already taken one. I want to take more. Is there a cost benefit in terms of what they'll be prepared for if they can they take too many courses in high school? Is that going to detrimentally affect maybe their financial aid or their status entering as a freshman for college? What's been your experience with that?
Sure. There's a lot to unpack in that question.
Yeah.
So try to help.
It's a big one.
Keep me on track here.
Yeah.
In terms of cost savings, it depends on where you want to take it. We acknowledge there are a lot of community colleges that they can offer it, $50 a credit or so. But then we always ask the next question is, what about transferability?
Yeah.
We always advise that if you're going to probably stay local, you're probably safe doing that. Those credits will transfer. But especially if you intend to leave the state you're in, you're probably a little bit more risky going that direction. And so you probably want to pursue some other avenues. In terms of total cost, one of the fun stats I like to throw out with Portage is, our mission is to be accessible to students and affordable.
Yeah.
We are actually built out that you could take all of your gen ed courses with us.
Yep.
And you can save about 70% over the entire national average. And so if you talk about just tuition, if you think about tuition, books, everything else like that, that amounts up to like between $60,000 and $70,000 depending on when you do it.
Yeah.
If you add in room and board for like a potential year, that's some serious cost savings there.
Yeah, it is.
There are different ways to also approach that. For the student, whether they want to use us online or go to another college. Again, there can be scholarships available that students can pursue.
Yeah.
But to your other question is like, is there ever too much?
Yes.
This is going to get a little bit more into the financials of things.
Yeah.
I would always say if a student is very confident in the direction they want to go in, pursue what they feel comfortable with. They don't want to be, you never want to overwork a student and they have a miserable high school experience before they even get to their college experience. But they can certainly take advantage of that and they could go in potentially as a sophomore.
Yeah.
But also acknowledge that also comes with different challenges as well. That you would typically be placed with more sophomores or juniors. And you may miss out on some of that kind of freshman experience and bonding there as well.
Sure.
We have some students we know that they wrote in and they loved it because they went in as a sophomore because it gave them better parking, on the campus, gave them better access to dorms. And so there can also be a plus side to that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
On a financial side, one of the things, just coming back from a conference for national policy, is some of the new policies that schools are starting to implement.
Yeah.
That, let's just hypothetically, let's say you take 6 courses while you're in high school that are all for college credit and you want to transfer all of them. One, if the college deems equivalency, meaning they believe that the course you took in high school was just as good, if not better, than the course that they would offer on campus, then they'll say, okay, what you took, we will now count as having been taken here.
Sure.
And they'll grant the credits. If they say, this doesn't quite match or align with what we have, typically they're going to give you an elective credit.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, say you took 6 courses and they transferred it as equivalents, great, like you're on your way.
Absolutely.
However, if they're all transferred in as electives, that can start to impact your financial aid.
And we always encourage students and parents to reach out to the school. If they know that there's 1 or 2 schools that's where their child is really hoping to go, or they know this is where they're headed after high school, we really encourage them to reach out to that school, talk to their admissions team, ask all of these questions. They will either know the answers or find out the answers for you, because they don't want you to come in with surprises either. They want you to know how to best prepare your student for success at the college level. And that includes financial aid, electives, core courses, graduating on time, graduating early, all of that. And if you're ever wondering about transferability, maybe your child takes a course at your local community college. Maybe they take a Portage Learning course, but you want to be sure before they register that it's going to transfer. You can contact the registrar's office at the intended school. And those registrars, they're sharp cookies. They will know the answer.
For sure.
They will not falter.
Yeah. I mean, having the transfer portals that they have, the databases that they have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You've got to call. I mean,
yes.
Obviously, at Portage, we're very proud that, we transfer to 2,800 plus schools nationwide. But we always, like I said, we always encourage our students, if you know which school you're heading, contact them.
Yes.
Do not under communicate with the registrar.
Yeah, you're not trying to sneak anything in. This is a practice that is very commonly done. It's accepted. Colleges,
very well documented.
Yeah, very well documented. Colleges like it. They approve of it. For them, often they look at a student who already has some college credits under their belt as a really good bet. They want those students because they see them as self-motivated.
Absolutely.
They see them as on the higher end of the academic scale, and they see them as a really good bet to matriculate. And ultimately, that's what schools want to see. They want students coming into their programs who look like they're going to be successful and matriculate on time, with credentials. So, yeah.
And for parents, if you don't know, I mean, colleges, they're always having to report like what is their completion rates, what's their graduation rates, and what are their dropout rates.
Yeah.
So to your point, they want students who are motivated and want to be successful. And
yes, they do
on their campus.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Let's talk a little bit about student preparation, because for some students, maybe a student is 16 or 17 years old and they're thinking, I don't know if I can be successful in a college course. Like, I'm a decent student, but I have to work really hard. So some of the questions that I get are, is there an age that my child has to be to take, for instance, courses through Portage Learning? Or are you looking for a child that has a certain GPA? Or are there prerequisite courses they should have taken before they say, take college algebra or a college level biology? What are let's flesh some of that out a little bit. So pick a question.
Yeah, sure. So one, again, always talk to your school to know what their requirements are.
Yeah.
I know at Portage, we want to honor the high school and what their requirements. And so we just mirror that. I think as a parent, it's knowing your child, knowing your student, like, are they ready?
Yeah.
Do we advise a ninth grader to jump into, a 200 level college course? Like, absolutely not.
Nope.
But are there courses that, typically at Portage, 16 is the cutoff. We want them to be able to have some prerequisite knowledge in kind of the gen eds that they have based on their high school curriculum. Because ultimately, at Portage, we want them to be successful.
Absolutely.
We don't want to see students failing, and we're not going to put them in a position that they're going to struggle or fail.
And also from a parent's perspective, you want your child to have a little bit of emotional maturity, because they're going to be interacting with their college level professor, either in person or online. And so you want them to have demonstrated the ability to be a little bit self-disciplined and make schedules for themselves and show some of their own initiative.
Yep. And depending on where they take the course, that can greatly influence their experience.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge there are going to be some places you can go and it's going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be exactly the college experience. It's going to be get in, get out the door.
Yes.
You can go other places where the academic rigor is going to be a heavy weight that they're going to have to adjust and adapt and hopefully have a support system around them so they can be successful. Yeah. I know that's one of the reasons I'm proud of the work we do here and what you do with your team, especially supporting students. So I'm curious if you'd like to talk about that just real quick, is all the ways that Portage also supports students going through things.
One of the things that I often talk about when I speak to parents is, we want your student to be successful almost as much as you want them to be successful. And so in an online environment, that can present challenges. We don't have a student success physical center that a student can go to like they can at a brick and mortar campus. But we do have a student success team, and they are wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah, they are.
And their whole purpose is to find ways to support the student so that they can successfully conclude their courses here with the grades that they need and that their experience is a positive one. So they're happy to help with reaching out to students for accountability. Maybe your student would be helped by a phone call every week. We can do that. We can reach out by email. How are you doing in your course? Are you struggling? Have you reached out to your professor? They can help with study tips and just kind of provide some framework for helping them map out their course in a timely frame so that they're going to finish when they need to finish. And then in addition to our student success team, we have our student services team. They're there to help with all of the technical details. Maybe they've never downloaded the type of software that they'll need to take an exam, and they need someone to help them with that. We can do that. Maybe they're having technical issues on their end with their browser. We can help with that. They have a question about their account or a question about when their course expires. All of those things and more are things that our student services team, again, that's a wonderful group of people, and they're there to support the student and help them be successful in what they do. And then the third piece, and maybe I should have started with this, is that for our courses, each student is assigned a professor for each course that they take. And that is an actual human being. We recognize that an online learning environment can seem impersonal. So we're doing everything we can to humanize that experience. And so you or your student is going to be assigned a professor for each course that they take, and they're going to be able to message back and forth with that professor. And our professors are real people. They are credentialed in their fields. They are experienced teachers and instructors. And again, they're part of that triangle of support, helping your student get through that course with as much success as he or she can.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you were talking about, even just the helpful study tips and how to study.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember like in high school, studying for me was like sitting on my bed, like with a guitar playing it while looking over stuff.
Yeah.
And then college, it was like, gonna have to change some practices
A little
here.
bit,
Like,
yeah.
Game on. I went to a hard college.
Yep.
And the way that we walk alongside students.
Yeah.
Most places don't even know, like we have a team of the academic analysts from the academic side. Like we monitor each course as they're going through it in real time.
Yeah.
Be able to put out the reports, to have the low grade warnings, to be able to reach out and say like, what's going on in your life right now? Is it study habits? Is it something else going on? And be able to support students in just real meaningful ways, I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I think the flexibility comes in there too, because for some students, flexibility is a challenge when you're talking about an asynchronous course because they've never had to create their own schedule before. Yeah. And so our team, our student success team, can do that for them. They can say, okay, you have 12 weeks that you've expressed that you need to finish this course in that time frame. So we're gonna create a schedule for you that's gonna move you through those modules in the time that you need. And that's gonna help you maintain your own schedule so that you can keep up to work or up to pace with your work.
Right. Kind of instilling that inherent sense of responsibility in a high school student.
Yeah. Some students may already be doing that. They may be able to do that on their own. That's sort of an intrinsic trait, I feel like. You either have or you don't. But if you don't, it's okay because there's a framework in place to help.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
Yeah, so we also want to acknowledge, like with high school students, they may need a little extra oversight. And so can you speak to just the different ways that we approach that? Yeah,
so that's a great point. So for a student who's taking a college course for the first time, there are just going to be some things that they'll need to acclimate to that will be different than sitting in their classroom in high school, or if they're homeschooled or cyberschooled, sitting in their living room and taking a course. And that is that we offer a designated observer. For a student, that can be a parent or guardian, or it can be a school counselor or teacher. And so the student is not kind of just flailing out there on their own with nobody to monitor. Yeah. Of course, our team is monitoring their pace through the course, their grade, what's going on, has it been a while since they've logged in, that sort of thing. But we also want that adult who is important in the student's life to be able to monitor that as well, especially if it's in a school environment where the school counselor needs to keep up to track with where they are in the course and what their grade is. So we do offer that at Portage Learning as well. And if your child chooses to go to a brick and mortar or an online course elsewhere, There are obviously lots of options, but these are all questions that as a parent, you want to ask because you want to know what support is available for your student. You don't want your child ever attending a place where they're not looked at as a person of distinction, where they're just seen maybe as a number.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really important.
And then I just want to dive back in just for a moment. We talked about AP courses for a bit,
Yeah.
and then the dual enrollment courses. Again, as an overview, as a reminder, so with AP, you take the course in high school. It is all dependent on the final exam, which also has a cost. And so I think the national average is $99. It can be
Okay.
anywhere from $99 to $130 for that one exam.
Yeah.
Again, if you have a bad day and the exam doesn't go your way, you're kind of out of luck.
It's a lot of pressure for one exam.
Yep. So the contrast to that is taking the dual enrollment course. There are certainly checkpoints, but it's just about passing the class as a whole.
Yeah.
It does not, kind of hinge on that one single exam.
Yeah.
Um,
If I could add one last piece of advice overall, it's just 3 words. Ask for help. As a parent, if you need information, ask for help. And if you're a student and you're struggling in a course or struggling to make a decision about what course to take, ask for help. People are always around you, ready to step in and provide the expertise that they know and to steer you or guide you in the direction that you need. So always be ready to ask for help.
Yep, that's great advice. And if by any means they don't have that around them, they should contact you. and your
They
team.
absolutely should. I love to help.
And I think what I would recommend for students as well is if they're debating even if college is for them, dual enrollment courses are a great way to kind of get their feet wet, to see like what the rigor, what the experience is going to be like,
Yeah.
what the expectations are, and to do it like within a safe environment.
That is a great point.
Yep. So we've talked to, I know a lot of parents that they can get a little bit leery of, do they want to send a 17-year-old onto a college campus?
Yes.
Versus do they want to take it online, either through us or elsewhere, while they're still in their high school or just sitting in their home
Yeah.
to be able to have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
But to take 1 or 2 courses to be able to understand what's coming, and so you can kind of even just mentally prepare for that.
Yeah.
I think that's why we do what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's absolutely true. We want to see students be successful, and we want to remove as many barriers for them as we can to getting that college education if that's where they're headed.
Yeah, just changing lives 1 course at a time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So how did it feel sitting on the hot seat today?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Only slightly lukewarm.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Same.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you.
All right. And for the listeners, if you have any questions, we always encourage you to reach out to us. You can find us on all the social medias. Send us comments, send us questions. We love to talk.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. See you next time.
All righty.